शांति पार्वती श्री अम्बे मात की जलाराम बापानी कृपाए मात बोलो पूज्य जलाराम बापानी श्री जलाराम बापानी जय।
हलो ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वादिसाक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। गुरुभ्यो नमः परमगुरुभ्यो नमः परात्परगुरुभ्ये नमो नमः परमेष्टिगुरुभ्ये नमो नमः। वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव शुभकार्येषु सर्वदाय। रिद्धिदाता सिद्धिदाता तुष्टिकर्ता पुष्टिकर्ता शान्तिकर्ता निर्विघ्नकर्ता श्रीमन्महागणाधिपतये नमो नमः। Now I request Prithiben to handle this today's very exciting and auspicious ceremony. So Prithiben.
राम नाम में लीन है देखत सब में राम ताके पद वंदन करो जय जय श्री जलाराम। पूज्य दादा कोटि कोटि pranam, respected elders, lords, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Shri Krishna and Jai Jalaram and pranam to all of you. My name is Prithi Raichara and it is an honor for me to be your host here today on the 25th anniversary celebrations of the Shree Jalaram Prarthana Mandir, a temple that certainly leads the way, not just for religious practices, but also for humanitarian service, the teachings of Pujya Bapa. Today, we are extremely grateful to be joined by so many of you that have taken time out to be with us here today, particularly for our dignitaries that have taken out time from your busy schedules. So thank you very much for being with us here today to celebrate this very auspicious and prestigious occasion. It gives me great pleasure to call upon our first guest speaker, Lord Jitesh Kishore Kumar Kadia, a British investment banker of the Conservative Party, donor and member of the House of Lords, a very humble and charitable man. And I'd like to take this opportunity to quote what he said last year on Jalaram Jayanti, which also Sanjay Rugani, who should have been here today but unfortunately isn't able to be here, but is watching us on the live streaming that's going on with our own internal cameramen. And you quoted, life is not worth living without giving. So again, yes, definitely. Again, in line with Bapa's teachings, please put your hands together for Lord Jitesh Kadia.
Namaste and Jai Jalaram. I'm humbled by the kind introduction from Prithiben and honored to be invited to the Silver Jubilee celebrations of this iconic Mandir and Community Centre in Leicester, the first purpose-built Jalaram temple in this country. Pramod Bhai shared with me some of the pages of the souvenir publication which is being launched today to coincide with this 25th anniversary. The contents capture the journey of this organization from small beginnings to a vibrant and indispensable hub serving the entire community at the heart of the most multicultural city in the UK. The inspiration for your activities comes from the noble, universal human values exemplified by Shree Jalaram Bapa and Virbaima, who in so many ways were ahead of their time. Whilst today's business schools might be theorizing about the virtues of servant leadership, this was being practiced 200 years ago in the small village of Virpur in Gujarat, and has since spread into a global movement. I was therefore delighted to see the initiative taken last year to connect the international network of Jalaram temples into a global platform, reaching a worldwide audience through the use of broadcast and social media. What has been accomplished at this mandir in terms of promoting Hindu values, interfaith understanding, community cohesion, voluntary service, helping the homeless, providing nutritious meals, health awareness campaigns, environmental initiatives, disaster relief, and engaging the next generation, to name just a few activities, is truly impressive. Next year will mark the 50th anniversary of the arrival of the Ugandan Asians in the UK. Just imagine if they had heeded the advertisements placed by the then Leicester City Council in the Ugandan newspapers in 1972, warning those being expelled by Idi Amin not to come to Leicester. This city and our whole society would be so much poorer in every sense. As an example of just how embedded this mandir has become in the civic life of Leicester, I recall that in 2018, when the local football club, Leicester City, suffered the terrible tragedy of losing its chairman in a helicopter crash, exactly 3 years ago yesterday, there were prayers held here in his memory, and a group representing the mandir walked to the King Power Stadium to pay their respects. So everyone associated with this mandir can rightly and truly be proud of this important anniversary milestone and for your contribution to serving society, especially the people of Leicester. As the pandemic was unfolding last year, I often made the observation that a crisis doesn't create character, it reveals it. The way in which different parts of society have responded to the pandemic has been a live test of this insight. The impressive way in which faith communities have risen to the health and social challenges of COVID has revealed their true character. We can be proud that the Hindu community has been at the forefront of providing meals to frontline workers and supporting the elderly and vulnerable. And this mandir has again led the way with its legendary tiffin service, providing a lifeline to so many. And I'm also pleased that your facilities are being made available to administer vaccines in partnership with a local pharmacy. These are brilliant examples of our values in action, especially seva or selfless service, which is one of the most admired virtues amongst Hindus, Jains, and Sikhs. And earlier this year, the diaspora communities responded in an incredible way to India's oxygen emergency, raising millions of pounds and supplying critical life-saving equipment as part of the global humanitarian response. Again, this mandir stepped up to play its own role, sending 2 new ambulances to Rajkot for the free transportation of patients to hospital. So I take this opportunity to applaud all those from the British, Indian, and Hindu community who have gone over and beyond during the pandemic. They have shown a remarkable ability to adapt and an incredible spirit of resilience. But above all, they have shown the power of duty and service. The pandemic has also highlighted some deep-seated health inequalities experienced by ethnic minority communities across the UK, not least here in Leicester. We have Professor Sir Nilesh Samani with us today, and as Medical Director of the British Heart Foundation, there is no better person to elaborate on this topic. It is the disproportionate impact of certain health issues, especially on the South Asian population, which first triggered my own interest as a parliamentarian. And I'm pleased to be joined by some others here today, Baroness Verma and the MP for Leicester. And as I looked at the whole subject of organ donation, I realized that almost 30% of those waiting for a transplant are from the ethnic minority communities, twice their representation in the population. In particular, I felt it was important to understand and highlight the change in law from an opt-in system to opt-out. So, in advance of this legislation coming into force, I convened several meetings in Parliament to raise awareness amongst leaders of the British Indian community about organ donation, attended by health ministers and by NHS Blood and Transplant, which I'm pleased to see represented here today by its chair, John Patullo. In this endeavour, I was actively supported by Kirit Modi, a kidney transplant recipient and long-standing campaigner on organ donation. Kirit Bhai had planned to be with us today, but unfortunately he has contracted COVID and is currently recovering at home. I'm sure you will all join me in sending him our best wishes and prayers from this mandir for a speedy recovery. It won't surprise you that some of the most active engagement and support for the organ donation initiative came from Pramod Bhai and the team here in Leicester. With their valuable participation and the involvement of a range of other leading community organizations, we formed the Jain and Hindu Organ Donation Steering Group, known by its initials, JOD, chaired by Kirit Modi and working closely with NHS BT. And I'm also delighted to see other members of the JOD committee present here today. Over the past almost 3 years, JOD has done some amazing work in engaging all sections of the community and creating innovative content and communications to help inform and educate people about making decisions on organ donation and the importance of having an open discussion with their families. To give you one important statistic, when families are consulted about organ donation, the consent rate amongst British Asians is only 30% compared to 75% for white eligible donors. This results in longer waiting times for our community, and sadly, more lives are lost in the process. Today's opening of the Organ Donation Information Centre is therefore an important moment in taking forward the work of JOD by providing an institutional presence covering the whole of the Midlands region. I would like to thank everyone who has made this possible, and in doing so, it is appropriate to remember one of the active members of this mandir who sadly passed away last year, late Leelaben Keshavji. I know her husband Manoj Bhai is with us today. By all accounts, she was a remarkable lady who not only played an active role with her husband in the work of this mandir, but when she died, donated 5 of her organs and helped to save the lives of others. So today we also honor Lina Ben's memory through the opening of this Organ Donation Information Office. I'm confident that the work undertaken through this office will play an important role in helping to improve consent and organ donation rates and will increasingly help save lives in the future. I would like to end by making 2 other brief points. Firstly, a word about the future of this mandir for the next 25 years and beyond. We increasingly live in a digital age which requires a combination of both hardware and software to maximize impact. Extending this analogy to this mandir, it clearly benefits from excellent hardware in the form of physical buildings and surroundings. Where we do require a continuous investment is in the people and programs. That is why I am so encouraged by the efforts made by the trustees in developing the range of activities which you are undertaking, and also actively involving the next generation. Secondly, we will be celebrating Diwali next week. Unlike last year, when we faced a strict lockdown, we have the prospect of a more normal festive season celebrated with family and friends. So I take this opportunity in advance to offer my warmest greetings to everyone for for a happy Diwali and healthy, peaceful and prosperous year ahead. Thank you again for the warmth of your welcome today and the opportunity to participate in these wonderful celebrations. I wish this Mandir and Community Centre continued success. May it scale new heights of both ambition and achievement in serving society and promoting the universal values of Jalaram Bapa and Virbai Ma. Thank you and Jai Jalaram.
As I said, Lord Jitesh, because of COVID, we don't have garlands this time, so except for Papa.
Thank you.
Jalaram This will be on at one go, yeah?
Sure.
Thank you, Jitesh.
Thank you very much to Lord Jitesh Pai Gadia for that wonderful speech. Thank you. And of course, I'd now like to call upon Pramod Bhai as well. Pramod Bhai should have actually been doing the welcoming speech, but I didn't see him at the front because he was too busy welcoming everyone. So I am going to just ask you just to say a few words to welcome the guests here today. But just before I do, there is a car that's blocking the access to our car park. It's a Golf FV64EH2. That's a Golf FV64EH2. If you can, just move your car. That will be great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Preeti. It wasn't necessary. Anyway, respected ladies, gentlemen, lords, parliamentarians, friends, relatives, elders from London, the football fraternity, the NHSBT, and my co-trustees. On behalf of all the trustees, we'd like to welcome you on this auspicious day to the 25th anniversary celebrations of Jalaram Mandir, Leicester. Since it was opened, it has had an amazing journey over a quarter of a century, from the days when the Mandal used to meet at various homes when the Ugandan Asians came, when our parents were worried what's going to happen to us. And the ladies were, praying from home to home when they raised the first £1,000. And from those humble beginnings, this is what has come up. So we do remember them at this time. And it's been a wonderful journey for all the trustees, dedicated sevas, and it's only been possible because of the support of all volunteers, trustees, donors, well-wishers, and friends. I mean, today being Thursday, it was wonderful to see that Jitesh, you were taken time off from London, Leeds. Nilesh, I know you had a meeting in London, but thanks for taking the time off. And Baroness Verma, Lord, it's wonderful to see. Thursday is an auspicious day, and it just happens that 28th of October, 1995 was also a Thursday. So Bapa is somehow, and we are so fortunate that Ashwin Dada has blessed this place yesterday. So, we can't really say what was. We've been so grateful that all of you are here. Thank you very much. And Preeti, you may carry on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much to Pramod Bhai Thakur, the chair of the temple here today. It now gives me great pleasure to welcome welcome Ashwin Dada from Anupam Mission. I'd like to call upon Bhavishaben to introduce Dada. આપણા જ્યારે સંતોના આશીર્વાદ આપણી સાથે હોય ત્યારે જ આપણું કાર્ય જે કે હોય એ આગળ વધી શકે. તો પ્લીઝ ભાવિશાબેન તમે આગળ આવી જાજો અને દાદાનું થોડું ઘણું ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન આપજો. And then we'll move on to take some blessings from Pujya Dada, and of course you will also translate what he will be saying. Thank you very much.
Jai Jalaram, Jai Swaminarayan, and my pranam to all. It is my utmost privilege to be able to introduce Sadguru Sant Param Puja Ashwin Dada. It is akin to fitting an ocean into a teacup, but I will try and do that in 2 minutes. Param Puja Ashwin Dada is a Sant from Anupam Mission, which is a Swaminarayan-based organization. Gurudev Yogi Ji Maharaj was an unbelievable saint who Chinmayanand Swami would say was the living embodiment of the Bhagavad Gita. But Gurudev Yogi Ji Maharaj had a vision, and while he initiated so many amazing santo who are doing extraordinary work today, he also initiated college-going youths. One of them, who is our Guru, Guru Hari Sahib Dada, but he initiated them in the most unconventional way. As many of you will know, Hindu monks usually don the saffron robe, but Gurudev Yogi Ji Maharaj decided that these youths will become sadhus, but they must do so in plain clothes. They must remain in plain clothes, remain celibate, do the work of the sadhu, and not go out into the world. And so they did. But because it was such a revolutionary thing at the time, they themselves had to branch off with Yogiji Maharaj's instruction. And they did. So from one day to the next, they were on the street and they could not go back home. But Yogiji Maharaj also gave his blessings, and he said, "True seekers will come looking for you. Because who will recognize a sadhu who is not wearing orange, who is plain clothes, and who is 23, 24 years old?" There was a group of 11 of them, with Gurudev Sahibji at the head. Yogiji Maharaj instated Guru Hari Sahibji, who himself was 24 at the time, as the head of that group, and also told the others that he has come to do this work. But, as you can imagine, for people like Sadguru Sant Ashwin Dada, who was a friend of Sahib Dada's, from one day to the next, from being friends and peers, the next day, overnight, their relationship changed to that of disciple and guru. And on faith in their guru, they began that journey. And as he had blessed them, seekers sought them out, because Gurudev Yogiji Maharaj changed a notion that was in everybody's minds, that a sadhu is recognized by his robes. Yes, he is, but his true identity is his virtue, and that is seen in his humility, his compassion, his love, the peacefulness that he radiates. And so they began in that way, and slowly, out of absolutely nothing, from 11 young boys at the time, the organization grew, people came to them, and Yogiji Maharaj said that the true marker of a saint is the peacefulness and the joy that you feel in his presence. And so people slowly came, joined, and the movement with Yogi Baba's blessings grew. Today, Anupam Mission is based across the world, and Sadguru Sant Param Puja Ashwin Dada is now a guide to thousands of people like myself, and Anupam Mission, in the same vein as Puja Jalaram Baba, taught the value of service. They too follow the same Karma Yoga and have instated that notion that in serving humankind lies our service to God, and in that way run numerous charitable activities across India and across the world. It is my pleasure to introduce Sadguru Sant Param Puja Ashwin Dada, and I'm delighted that we will gain his blessings today. Param Puja Ashwin.
Thank you.
જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ, જય શ્રી સ્વામિનારાયણ, જય જલારામ. અત્રે ઉપસ્થિત સર્વ આમંત્રિત મહેમાનો, મારા આદરણીય વડીલો, સભામાં ઉપસ્થિત સર્વે બહેનો, માતાઓ, દીકરીઓ અને સર્વ સજ્જનોને હું અનુપમ મિશનના પ્રતિનિધિ તરીકે સર્વને ભાવભર્યા પ્રણામ કરું છું. આજે આ એક બહુ જ મંગલ દિવસ અને એમાંય ગુરુવારનો શુભ દિવસ. ભાઈ પ્રમોદભાઈએ કહ્યું એ પ્રમાણે તે દિવસે પણ ગુરુવાર હતો, આજે પણ ગુરુવાર છે. હું એનો અર્થ એમ કરું છું કે તે દિવસે પણ સારા કાર્યો કરવા માટે આપણા વડીલો અને આપણા ગુરુજનોએ આપણને આશીર્વાદ આપ્યા હતા અને એ આશીર્વાદ આજે પણ એટલા જ આપણા સર્વની ઉપર છે. એવી શ્રદ્ધા સહિત આજે આપણે ઉજવણી કરવા માટે ભેગા થયા છીએ. ભાગવત આચાર્ય કૃષ્ણશંકર શાસ્ત્રી દાદાના વરદ હસ્તે જેનો પાયો નખાયો એવું આ તીર્થસ્થાન અને ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકાથી આવેલા આપણા સર્વ હિન્દુ ભાઈઓએ સાથે મળીને જે અદ્ભુત કાર્ય કર્યું એને 25 વર્ષનો લાંબો સમય વીતી ગયો છે. 25 વર્ષ સુધી સતત એક શ્રદ્ધાથી, એક ઉત્સાહથી, એક લગનથી આરંભ કરેલા કાર્યને આગળ વધારવું અને એમાં વિવિધ પ્રવૃત્તિઓનો વર્ષે વર્ષે ઉમેરો કરતા જવું, એ જ આપણી નિષ્ઠા અને શ્રદ્ધાની સાચી નિશાની છે. આજે આપણે ભગવાન શ્રી રામ અને જેના નામની ધજા ફરકે છે એ ધર્મની ધજાના નેજા હેઠળ એ ધર્મને નવા સમયમાં નવા રૂપે સમજવાની એક નવી શુભ શરૂઆત કરી રહ્યા છીએ. આપણી માન્યતાઓ, આપણી ગ્રંથિઓ, આપણા પૂર્વગ્રહો એમાંથી બહાર નીકળીને જેમાં કોરોના સમયે આપણું આખી વિચારસરણી બદલી નાખી છે. આપણા સોશિયલ ગેધરિંગની રીત, આપણા ધંધા વેપારની પદ્ધતિ, આપણા બાળકોની શિક્ષણ રીતિ, સઘળી બાબતોમાં એક જબરજસ્ત બદલાવ આવી રહ્યો છે. અને ત્યારે આપણા સૌના એ માટે સમય છે કે આપણે એની સાથે તાલમેલ મિલાવી શકીએ એવી રીતે આપણે આપણી ઈષ્ટદેવ પ્રત્યેની આસ્થા અને શ્રદ્ધાને પણ સેવાના કાર્યો દ્વારા નવું રૂપ અને સ્વરૂપ આપી શકીએ. 25 વર્ષ સુધી આ સંગઠનને હેમખેમ જાળવી રાખવું, હું વ્યક્તિગત રીતે સ્થાપક ટ્રસ્ટીઓથી માંડીને વયોવૃદ્ધ વૃદ્ધો અને જેમાંના કેટલાક તો કદાચ આજે આપણી વચ્ચે કે આપણી સાથે નથી, પણ એમને આપેલા આશીર્વાદ અને આપેલો સંસ્કારનો ભવ્ય વારસો આપણી સાથે છે. હયાત જે કોઈ પણ ટ્રસ્ટીઓ, કાર્યકર્તાઓ અને વિશેષ તો જે સ્વયંસેવકો આપણા દરેક પ્રોજેક્ટ વખતે નિષ્ઠાપૂર્વક અને લગનથી જે કામ કરે છે અને એને પરિણામે જે સુવાસ ફેલાય છે એ આપણી કમાણી છે. એમ કે ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકાથી આપણે પહેરેલે લુગડે આવ્યા, શું કમાયા, કેટલું કમાયા, તો એમ આપણે ભગવાનના નામ પર આ એક સદકાર્ય માનવ સેવા એ જ પ્રભુ સેવા છે એવો બાપાનો મંત્ર મુખ્ય રાખીને આપણે જે કામ કર્યું અને એની જે સાચી કમાણી આપણને પ્રાપ્ત થઈ છે એ આજે 25 વર્ષે આપણામાં અને આપણા દ્વારા હાથ ધરાતી પ્રવૃત્તિઓના માધ્યમ દ્વારા દેખાય છે. અંગદાન એ એક આપણી હિન્દુ માન્યતાથી ઉપર ઉઠીને કરવાનું કામ છે. અને એમાંય જ્યારે આજના આ પ્રોગ્રામના હોસ્ટિંગનું કામ જીતેશભાઈ દ્વારા કરવામાં આવ્યું છે, તો અમારા દેશમાં સ્લોગન બોલાય, જીતેગા ભાઈ જીતેગા, જીતેગા ભાઈ જીતેગા. તો જે અંતિમ સંસ્કાર વિશેની આપણી જે હિન્દુ માન્યતાઓ અને વંશ પરંપરાગત ચાલી આવતી જે પદ્ધતિ, એમાંથી અંગદાન કરવું. હમણાં જ ગયા મહિને કેનેડા ટોરન્ટોમાં અમારા સ્વામિનારાયણના એક ભક્તનું દેહાંત થયું. એમને એમની હયાતીમાં જ એમના સંતાનોને જણાવ્યું હતું કે મારી પાછળ કોઈ પણ પ્રકારની વિધિ કરવી નહીં. મારું શરીર, ડૉક્ટર સાહેબ જ્યારે અહીંયા હાજર છે ત્યારે, મારું શરીર મેડિકલ યુનિવર્સિટીને આખે આખું સોંપી દેવું, જેથી અનેક વિદ્યાર્થીઓ એ શરીરના માધ્યમ દ્વારા મેડિકલ સાયન્સનો અભ્યાસ કરી શકે. જ્યારે માણસનું મગજ ખોટું થઈ જાય છે ત્યારે માત્ર એનું શરીર જ જીવતું હોય છે, જેને આપણે વેજીટેબલ કહીએ, શાકભાજીની માફક જીવતું શરીર. અને ત્યારે એના તંદુરસ્ત અંગો અન્યને જીવન આપવા માટે કામ લાગે એ પદ્ધતિને આપણે ઓર્ગન ડોનેશન અથવા તો અંગદાન કહીએ છીએ. સૌથી પ્રથમ તો હું આ શ્રી જલારામ મંદિરના સંચાલકો, ટ્રસ્ટીઓ અને સર્વ શુભેચ્છકોને વ્યક્તિગત રીતે અભિનંદન આપવાનો આનંદ વ્યક્ત કરું છું કે આવું શુભ અને રૂડું કામ, અન્યને જીવન આપવાનું. જીવન આપનારા તો જીવનદાતા છે. જન્મ અને મૃત્યુ બંને જેના હાથમાં છે, તે પણ કોઈકને કંઈક આપણું અંગ કામ લાગે ને જો એને નવું જીવન મળતું હોય તો એ અંગરોપણ, હવે તો મેડિકલ સાયન્સ એટલું બધું વધી ગયું છે, ઓર્ગન ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટના એટલા બધા સફળ પ્રયોગો થઈ રહ્યા છે, ત્યારે કાર્યના રૂપમાં જોવું પડશે. કરભલા હોગા ભલા સાંભળતા આવ્યા જ છીએ આપણે, પણ એ કરવાનો જ્યારે આપણા ભાગે અને ક્યારેક આપણા સ્વજનો વતીથી આપણે નિર્ણય કરવાનો આવે ત્યારે બહુ અઘરું કામ હોય છે. પણ ત્યારે અન્યના હિત, મંગલ અને એના નવા જીવન માટેનો વિચાર કરીને પણ જો એકે આપ્યું, બીજાએ આપ્યું, ત્રીજાએ આપ્યું, એટલે જેમ વર્ષોથી કોમ્યુનિટીમાં જે રિવાજો ચાલતા આવ્યા છે, એમ હવે પછીના સમયમાં હું આશા રાખું કે રિવાજ બનતો જાય કે મારું જે કંઈ પણ હોય એ અન્યને માટે કામ લાગે, ઉપયોગી થાય. જીતેશભાઈનું સ્લોગન અત્યારે ફરીથી યાદ કરું છું કે લિવિંગ ઇઝ નોટ ઓનલી લિવિંગ, ગિવિંગ ઇઝ આ લિવિંગ. એને આપણે આ રીતે પણ એનું અર્થઘટન કરીએ કે હું જીવી ગયો એટલું પૂરતું નથી, પણ જો મારું કશું કોઈકને કામ લાગે અને જો એને નવું જીવન મળે તો એ હું જ જીવ્યા બરાબર છે, મારું જ જીવન લાંબુ થયું એવું કદાચ હવે પછીના આવી રહેલા વર્ષોમાં સમાજમાં આ વિચારસરણીનો વિકાસ થશે. અને આજે જેને અંતિમ સંસ્કાર સારી રીતે કર્યા નથી અને જેને લોકોક્તિ પ્રમાણે, લોકરિવાજ પ્રમાણે જે મરણ પાછળની જે બધી વિધિઓ કરે એ કરી નથી અને એની ટીકા થાય એની આપણને બહુ બીક છે. કોઈ શું કહેશે, લોકો શું કહેશે, કોઈ આપણા માટે શું ધારશે, એમાંથી ઉપર ઉઠીને મારો પ્રભુ અને મારો અંતરાત્મા. આમ તો બાપાએ આપણને શીખવાડ્યું છે કે જે રામમાં છે એ મારામાં છે અને જે મારામાં છે તે સર્વમાં છે. તો વિચાર એમ કરીએ કે મારો પ્રભુ શું કહેશે, અને ગુરુવાર છે ત્યારે બીજો વિચાર કરીએ કે મારા ગુરુએ મને શું શિક્ષણ આપ્યું છે. એ દીપે એ આગળ વધે અને એનું નામ ઉજળું થાય એવા કાર્યો કરવાનું હું નિમિત્ત બનું. આપણે કરતા નથી, આપણે નિમિત્ત છે. ઈશ્વરે આપણને તક આપી છે એક સારા કામ કરવાની, અને આટલા મોટા સમૂહમાં કોમ્યુનિટી સેન્ટર, બહુ સુંદર શબ્દ પ્રયોગ છે. શિક્ષણ, આરોગ્ય, સમાજ ઉત્થાન, કુદરતી આપત્તિઓમાં મદદ, એ તો લગભગ હવે બધી જ ચેરિટી કરે છે. પણ એનાથી કંઈક નવીન, જેમ કોવિડનો સમય આવ્યો તો કોવિડ વેક્સિનેશન સેન્ટર આપણે ચલાવ્યું, અને હવે જે આ નવી વાતની શરૂઆત થાય છે એ ઓર્ગન ડોનેશનનું મૂવમેન્ટ પણ આપણે ચલાવવાની શરૂઆત કરી રહ્યા છે. ત્યારે સમાજના શ્રેષ્ઠીજનોને આજે ક્ષમા કરજો, હું સર્વના વ્યક્તિગત નામ બોલી નથી શક્યો, પણ સર્વને આદરપૂર્વક પ્રણામ કરું છું. પણ સમાજના વિવિધ અંગોના પ્રતિનિધિઓ આપણી સાથે ઉપસ્થિત છે, એટલે આપણે એમ માની લઈએ કે બાપાના આશીર્વાદ છે અને સૌ આપણી સાથે છે. ઘણી વખત આવું કોમ્યુનિટીનું કામ કરવાનું થાય ને ત્યારે આપણે થોડાક પાણીમાં બેસી જઈએ. હું એકલો શું કરું, મારી જોડે કોઈ નહીં, કોઈ મારી વાત માને નહીં, કોઈ સાથ આપે નહીં. પણ જો એક વ્યક્તિના મનની અંદર પણ આવો દ્રઢ સંકલ્પ હોય તો પ્રભુ એની આજુબાજુથી સેંકડો એવા એ સંકલ્પમાં ભળે એવા સજ્જનોને આપોઆપ મેળવી આપે છે. અને એટલે જ મેં કહ્યું કે આપણે ધર્મની ધજા હેઠળ ભેગા થયા છે, ભગવાનના નામ માટે ભેગા થયા છીએ. અને જ્યારે પ્રભુની પ્રસન્નતા મળે એવું ગુરુઆજ્ઞાથી આપણે જ્યારે કામ કરતા હોઈએ ત્યારે વડીલો અને ગુરુજનોના આશીર્વાદ આપણી સાથે છે ને છે જ. શાસ્ત્રી કૃષ્ણશંકરજીએ જ્યારે અહીંયા પાયો નાખ્યો હશે ત્યારે 25 વર્ષે આ પ્રકલ્પ, આ પ્રકારના કામ હાથમાં ધરશે એવી કદાચ એમને પણ કલ્પના નહીં કરી હોય. એમના પૌત્ર અનંત કૃષ્ણજી આજના મંગલ પ્રસંગે પધારવાના હતા, પરંતુ તેમનો વિદ્યાભ્યાસ ચાલુ છે, તેથી તેઓ આજે અહીંયા ઉપસ્થિત રહી શક્યા નથી. પરંતુ એમની ભાગવત કથા દરમિયાન જ્યારે પ્રમોદભાઈ ગુજરાત આવ્યા, ભારત આવ્યા અને તપોભૂમિ બ્રહ્મજ્યોતિ ઉપર પધાર્યા, ત્યારે એમને અમને આ 25 વર્ષની ઉજવણીમાં ભાગ લેવા માટે આગ્રહભર્યું આમંત્રણ આપ્યું હતું. અમારા ગુરુદેવ સંત ભગવંત સાહેબજી મહારાજની આજ્ઞાથી મારે અને વાસુદેવભાઈને આ નિમિત્તે અહીંયા આવવાનું થયું છે. આજે આપ સર્વની વચ્ચે ઉપસ્થિત રહેવાનો અને મારા ધર્મ વિશેના નૂતન અને પરિવર્તન, કારણ કે અમને ગુરુદેવ યોગીજી મહારાજે ભગવા વસ્ત્રો પહેર્યા વગરની સાધુતા માટેના સ્વયંસેવક બનાવ્યા છે, સાધુ બનાવ્યા છે. હૃદય ભગવું કરવું, હૃદયને વિશે આસક્તિ ટાળીને વિરક્ત ભાવ લાવીને એક વિશાળ ભાવથી સર્વ ઠેકાણે પ્રભુનો વાસ અને સર્વ સેવા એ પ્રભુની પૂજા એવા ભાવથી કરવાનું શિક્ષણ આપ્યું છે. મારા સદભાગ્ય બ્રહ્મ સ્વરૂપ યોગીજી મહારાજની નિજ સેવામાં રહેવાનો મને લાભ મળ્યો છે અને બ્રહ્મ ભાગવતાચાર્ય કૃષ્ણશંકર શાસ્ત્રી દાદાની ભાગવત કથાઓનું રસપાન કરવાનો પણ સદભાગ્ય પ્રાપ્ત થયું છે. આ સંત પુરુષોએ આપેલો જે સત્સંગ, સંસ્કાર, દિશાનું સૂચન અને આપણામાં પડેલી બુદ્ધિ, શક્તિ, આવડત, અક્કલ, હોશિયારીનો વ્યક્તિગત પોતાના સ્વાર્થ પૂરતો સીમિત ઉપયોગ નહીં, પણ સમાજ ઉત્કર્ષ માટે, સર્વના હિત, મંગલ અને ભલા માટે ઉપયોગ કરવા માટે કામે લગાડવાની એક દિશા બતાડી છે કે આટલું પૂરતું નથી, પણ આ દિશામાં પણ કંઈક કરો તો મનુષ્ય જીવન પ્રાપ્ત થયેલું કૃતાર્થ થશે. બાપાની કૃપા છે કે આપણા વડીલોએ, માતા પિતાએ આપણને આ સંસ્કાર આપ્યા અને એને પરિણામે આપણે આવું સુંદર મંદિર તો અહીંયા ઊભું કરી શક્યા. બીજી પેઢીના એટલે કે હયાત અત્યારના આપણે માતા પિતા પાસેથી મળેલા આ સંસ્કારના વારસાને જાળવીને આ પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરી રહ્યા છે. ત્યારે 25 વર્ષ પછીની જે હવે પછીના 25 વર્ષ પછીની આપે જે શુભેચ્છા પાઠવી છે એને જો સાકાર કરવી હોય અને આને અનેક ગણી જો વિકસાવવી હોય તો હવે આપણા પછીની જે પેઢી એટલે કે આપણું યંગ જનરેશન જે આ દેશમાં જન્મ્યું, અહીંયા જ જેને શિક્ષણ લીધું અને અહીંયા જ ધંધા વેપારમાં જે આગળ ફૂલી ફાલી રહ્યા છે, એમના સુધી આ વાત અને આ વારસો જ્યારે પહોંચે ત્યારે આપણે કરેલી મહેનતના રૂડા ફળ આપણે જ જોઈને જઈએ એવો શુભ દિવસ બાપા આપણને બતાડે તેવી આ 25મા વર્ષની ઉજવણી નિમિત્તે હું મંગલ પ્રાર્થના ધરું છું. આપણે સૌ સાથે મળીને, મેં નાના હતા ત્યારે પાઠશાળામાં કવિતા ભણતા, સાથે રમીએ, સાથે જમીએ, સાથે કરીએ સારા કામ. સારા કામમાં સોસાયટીમાં આપણે જોયું છે કે અમુક નકારાત્મક કામ કરનારા લોકોનું ટોળું બહુ ઝડપથી ભેગું થઈ જતું હોય છે, પણ સકારાત્મક કાર્ય કરવા હોય તો લોકોને ખેંચીને બોલાવવા પડે છે ને એમાં જોડવા પડે છે. આ એક આપણી મનુષ્ય સ્વભાવની નબળાઈ છે. પણ મને જોઈને આનંદ થાય છે કે કોરોનાની લિમિટેશનને કારણે બહુ સીમિત આમંત્રિતો વચ્ચે પણ આજનો આ સમારંભની ઉજવણી થાય છે. જો સંપૂર્ણપણે છૂટ હોય, જેમ દિવાળી મનાવવાની જેમ આપણને છૂટ મળે એવી જો સંપૂર્ણપણે જો છૂટ મળી હોત તો કેટલી મોટી સંખ્યામાં આજે આપણે બાપાના નામનો જય જયકાર ઉજવતા હોત અને છેલ્લા 25 વર્ષના ઇતિહાસને વાગોળતા હોત. પરમ કૃપાળુ પરમાત્મા આપણને સૌને એવી શક્તિ આપે, બુદ્ધિ આપે કે જેથી એ શક્તિને સવડી બુદ્ધિની સકારાત્મકતાથી ભક્તિમાં પરિવર્તિત કરીને ભક્ત હૃદય બનીએ, સહૃદય બનીએ, પ્રેમ અને આત્મીયતાના સંબંધોની ઘનિષ્ઠતાને વધારતા જઈએ, જેથી પરિવારમાં પણ સુખ, શાંતિ, પ્રેમ અને આનંદનું વાતાવરણ બની રહે. આખરે પ્રભુના અને વડીલોના આશીર્વાદ તો એ જ આપણે ઈચ્છીએ છીએ કે અમારા પરિવારમાં પ્રેમ, શાંતિ, આનંદ અને સુમેળતાનું વાતાવરણ બની રહે. દિવાળીની શુભેચ્છાઓમાં સૌને તનની તંદુરસ્તી રાખી. પ્રભુએ આ કોરોના કાળમાં ઘણા ઝપટાઈ ગયા, પણ આપણે હજુ શ્વાસ લઈએ છીએ અને એકબીજાને મળીને આપણો આનંદ વ્યક્ત કરીએ છીએ, પણ એની જ કૃપાનું પરિણામ છે. આપણામાંના જ એક સ્વજન અને દાતા આજે કોરોનાની બીમારીમાં હોવાને કારણે અહીંયા ઉપસ્થિત નથી રહી શક્યા. જીતેશભાઈએ આપણને સૌને વિનંતી કરી કે એના સ્વાસ્થ્ય માટે આપણે પ્રાર્થના કરીએ. આપણા માટે જ્યારે આપણે પ્રાર્થના કરીએ છીએ ત્યારે ભગવાન સાંભળે છે, જરૂર સાંભળે છે, અને એ શ્રદ્ધાથી તો આપણે અહીંયા માથું ટેકવીએ છીએ. પણ જ્યારે આપણે અન્યના માટે પ્રાર્થના કરીએ ત્યારે પ્રભુ વધારે જલ્દીથી સાંભળે છે અને એના રૂડા પરિણામો આપણને બતાડે છે. આવા અનેક દાખલાઓ અમારા સત્સંગમાં પણ સામૂહિક પ્રાર્થનાને કારણે અમને મળ્યા છે, અને એને કારણે અમારી નિષ્ઠા અને શ્રદ્ધા ઈષ્ટદેવને માટે વધી છે. ગુરુના વચનમાં વિશ્વાસ પણ વધ્યો છે. એ જ વાતને આપણે બહુ મોટા પાયા પર જ્યારે કોમ્યુનિટી સેન્ટર છે ત્યારે આપણા આખા સમાજમાં, આપણી આખી કોમ્યુનિટીમાં, અને વિશેષ કરીને બાપા અને યોગીજી મહારાજને પણ અમે બાપા કહેતા. યોગી બાપાને બાપા કહેતા. કાળક્રમે પ્રમુખ સ્વામી મહારાજને પણ બાપા કહેવા લાગ્યા, પણ યોગી બાપાને બધા યોગી બાપાના નામથી જ બોલાવતા. જલારામ બાપા અને યોગી બાપા એ આપણી કોમ્યુનિટીનું ગૌરવ છે. આવા સંત પુરુષો, આવા દેવ પુરુષો, આવો પ્રભુનો અવતાર મનુષ્ય શરીર ધારીને આપણી વચ્ચે 200 વર્ષ પહેલાં જીવી ગયો, એ આપણું કેટલું મોટું સદભાગ્ય છે. એ પુણ્યનું બળ લઈને, એ આસ્થા અને શ્રદ્ધાનું બળ લઈને આ ઓર્ગન ડોનેશનનું નહીં, સમયની જે જરૂરિયાત હોય તે પ્રમાણે જ્યારે જ્યારે જે કોઈ પણ રૂડો સંકલ્પ આપણે કરશું તો મને તો ઈષ્ટદેવમાં શ્રદ્ધા છે કે જરૂર એ બળ પૂરશે અને જરૂર એના રૂડા પરિણામો આવશે. એટલે શુભેચ્છા પાઠવવાની કે કાર્યકર્તાઓને ધન્યવાદ આપવાનો કોઈ સવાલ જ રહેતો નથી. એક વાત ચોક્કસ માનવી કે પ્રભુએ નિર્મિત કરેલું કાર્ય મને નિમિત્ત બના. પ્રભુએ નિર્મિત કરેલું એનું છે, સંકલ્પ એનો છે. મને નિમિત્ત બનાવીને મારા દ્વારા કરાવી રહ્યા છે. એ ખરેખર તો મારી જાતની ધન્યતા છે. હું સદભાગી છું કે આ સેવાનો હું સહભાગી બની શક્યો. સદભાગી, સહયોગી, ભાગીદાર બનવું એ બહુ જ ઉત્તમ તક મને, તમને, આપણને સૌને ઈશ્વરે આપી છે, પ્રભુએ આપી છે, આપણા ઈષ્ટદેવે આપી છે. નામ લઈએ તો બાપાએ આપી છે. સૌ સાથે મળીને આ એક જે નવો કાર્યક્રમ શ્રી જલારામ મંદિરના માધ્યમ દ્વારા મંદિર ઉઠીને આ પ્રકારની પ્રવૃત્તિ કરે એ જૂના જમાનાના ચીલાચાલુ ભગતોના મગજમાં ઉતરે નહીં. આ આપણું કામ નથી ભાઈ. આપણને શિક્ષણ મળ્યું, આપણે વિદેશમાં આવ્યા, આપણા વિચારો વિશાળ બન્યા, જ્યાંથી જે કંઈ પણ સારું છે, શુભ છે, તેનો સ્વીકાર કરવો અને એવા કામ કરવા માટેનું નિમિત્ત બનવું એ બહુ મોટી વાત છે. ધન્યવાદ જેટલા આપીએ એટલા ઓછા છે. જેમને આની સ્થાપના કરી ત્યાંથી માંડીને આજે જે આનું સુચારુ રૂપે સંચાલન કરી રહ્યા છે અને હવે પછીની જે યુવાન પેઢી જે આપણી સાથે જોડાશે એને પણ આ જ દિશામાં વિશેષ ને વિશેષ બળ મળતું રહે તેવી મંગલ પ્રાર્થના સાથે ફરીથી દિવાળીની શુભેચ્છા સાથે મારા પ્રેમપૂર્વકના આપ સર્વના શ્રીચરણોમાં જય શ્રી સ્વામિનારાયણ પાઠવું છું.
Fari Pacha Koti Koti Pranam, Dadaji. Thank you for that very inspirational pravachan from Dadaji. I would have called upon Bhavishaben for a translation for the benefit of those that didn't understand Dadaji's speech, but unfortunately we are running out of time. 1 minute? 1 minute.
Sorry, I will only take a minute, but I think it is important that we get the message across. He did apologize that he wasn't able to call upon you all by name, and he's asked for forgiveness for that. But one of the important messages that he gave was regarding organ donation. And he said, while Hindus sometimes, typically, because of tradition and because it isn't encapsulated within the scripture, they feel scared to take this route because you have to go through the rites and rituals associated with cremating a body according to the Hindu tradition. But Param Pujya Ashwin Dada said, when we fly the flag of religion or spirituality, we must note that just as we have to change our preconceived ideas and notions, we have to change with the times. And we have to keep astride of developments and changes. And in that way, religion and spirituality too have to keep astride of those changes. And therefore, when this God-given body can be used, not just for yourself, but to help a whole load of other people, then that is what you must do. It is the right thing to do. And he said that if I, as an individual, said, I will donate my organs, and if 5 of my organs went to 5 different people, I am living now through 5 different people. And in fact, it is my own life I have extended through that. And he gave that very inspirational message through this. I'll stop there, I know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavishaben, for that translation. Thank you. We do have a video message from Shastriji Anant Krishnaji, but unfortunately, because we are short of time, we'll try and play it a little bit later, time permitting. But first, now, if I can move on to invite our next guest speaker, a familiar face to all of us here in Leicester, Professor Nilesh Pai Samani, a very well-known personality here in Leicester. And he's well known for his commitment to the NHS. Nilesh Pai is a professor of cardiology at the University of Leicester and a consultant cardiologist at the Cardiac Centre at Glenfield Hospital. He is also a medical director of the British Heart Foundation, the UK's national heart charity, where he oversees their research, funding and medical activities. Another very inspirational individual. Please put your hands together for Professor Samani.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jalaram. I wanted to start by one important message. My mother told me that never speak after a child, never speak after a politician, and never speak after an inspirational religious leader. So I'm breaking all conventions today. So what you're going to hear now is not going to be anything as elegant or as inspirational as what you heard so far. Okay? So this is going to be, we're going to go down a base a little bit. But from all trustees of the temple, it's a deep honor to be here today to join you in this celebration, the 25th celebration of the Jalaram temple. I remember coming here on the first year. I was much younger then, and it's fantastic to see how well it's grown over the last 25 years, and the service it provides to the community of Leicester. And as you say, Seva has been mentioned several times today, and the Seva that the people who visit this temple provide to the community. A few years ago, when you opened the community center across the way, I remember coming and joining you for that occasion, and I think the occasion today to open the organ donation office is another important contribution that this temple makes. Lord Gadia mentioned the many, many things that the temple has done over the last 25 years in providing this seva to the community. I want to just mention the support that you provided to the health system in Leicester. The center has provided much needed support to the health system in Leicester, particularly the hospitals and the heart center at Glenfield, and we are enormously grateful for that contribution that you made to the work we do in the NHS. The temple is not only something for the people of Leicester. I have lots of friends and relatives who live in other parts of the country, and as they come down Narborough Road, the thing they always mention to me is that they see the temple and the sign, and the welcome that it seems to provide. They feel they're at home when they come into Leicester, and I know this is often the first place that they stop when they come to Leicester before they come and visit their families. So the temple is really something that's become special, not only for the people of Leicester, but a lot of other people who live around the country and who come to Leicester. Lord Gadia mentioned the pandemic and the impact it's had on the health service over the last year. I'm not going to spend a lot of time over this. The only message I wanted to give people, and I still worry about this, is that we saw a reluctance of people to go to hospitals when the pandemic hit. And this has had a toll. We worry about the number of deaths that have happened as a consequence of the pandemic, and that's obviously extremely distressing. But the thing, as a heart specialist, the thing that worried me most, and what the British Heart Foundation have emphasized, is the reluctance of people when they seemed like they were having a heart attack to still go into hospital. In the first few months after the pandemic started, that has cost us lots of lives. People have been worried about it, and I still hear every day. I still see family, I still see friends who are worried when you say you need to go to hospital. I'm not really quite keen to go to the hospital at the moment. Hospitals are safe in this situation, and I would really recommend that if you're having symptoms that suggest a heart attack, you do not stop and think about whether you should go to hospital. Go to hospital; it'll save lives. Thank you. In the last year, the BHF have estimated about 5,000 people have needlessly lost lives as a consequence of this reluctance to go to hospital. So that's a personal plea from me to you. The main reason we are here, well, important reason, of course, is about organ donation, and both Lord Gadia and you have spoken very elegantly about why people should be donating, so I won't cover that bit. But I just want to reflect on where we are with organ donation and the importance transplantation. I'm sure this will also be covered by the next speaker. I started medical school 50 plus years ago now. And when I was a student, the first heart transplant happened 50 years ago, roughly. So Bernard, as you know, many of you will have heard of the story of Christian Bernard and the first heart transplant 50 years ago, just over 50 years ago. And when I was a junior doctor, I worked at the Hammersmith Hospital in London, where the early bone marrow transplants were being done for leukemias, for blood cancers. And I remember the challenges that people faced at the time about rejection of the organ, other complications from infection risk from that. And all of that, research, as was mentioned earlier, has gone a long way. In the last 50 years, we've come a long way towards making heart and other transplants safer. They've almost become routine in the way we would do them now. And obviously, as all of you know, they're life-giving for people who desperately need them. So the research and development in science has made them really much, much more safer for people who receive them. So I think there's an imperative, therefore, for us to try and make sure that those who need them get them as a consequence. Your organs will not be wasted if you donate them, because those are, the science has advanced so much that they will be life-saving. So I urge you, as the organ donation office here will, to support this. I mean, at the moment, because I am the medical director of BHF, I keep a close eye on the number of people who are on heart transplant lists. I mean, heart transplants are not necessarily, I mean, heart failure, which is the reason people have heart transplants, about a million people in the UK suffer with heart failure. Not all of them need transplants, but those of them who need them, they're really desperate because they will lose their lives in the next few months if they don't receive it. And currently we have about 350 people at any one time on a heart transplant register. These are people often in hospitals, people whose lives are really very poor, and without a transplant, they will not survive for very long. And last year, only about 170 or 180 transplants were done, heart transplants were done, which is, compared to 5 years ago, is gone down by 10 or so percent. So there's a real need, and again, I think COVID has exposed this for us, that there's a real need for people to come forward to give transplants. And in our community in particular, there are, of course, challenges. You need to match hearts with the right people. And I think it's important that we give people who need the heart transplant the best opportunity for heart and other organs to be matched properly. And I know that there are often issues related to ethnicity and matching of heart and other organs that we need to really deal with. So it's important that our community steps up. The recent bill around making it an opt-out situation is, I think, an important development. The BHF championed that and wanted to see this happen. But that doesn't solve the problem for us. What solves the problems for us is you having a discussion with your families. You having a family discussion early on. And this is what we don't do. Somebody dies, there's a real problem at the time. I mean, if somebody dies in my family and I have not had this discussion in advance, it's very difficult to make those decisions at this moment when you are grieving the loss of your family member. So my urge to you, and the point that I wanted to disseminate, is that it's important that families have this discussion. Ultimately, it's a choice. Ultimately, it's a family choice. But if you've had that discussion in advance so that you know what your children want from this, you know what your siblings want from this, then that question, and when the doctor approaches you about heart transplantation or organ donation as a possibility, you will have had the wishes of your family member very clearly known to you. And then that decision becomes much more easier. So it's not the bill, it's not the legal situation that will improve the situation. It is the discussion that all of you should have with your families at a stage. When you can do it in a much more informed way, you can do it in a way that means that people's wishes are respected. And that's what I would urge. What the message to go out from today is about having that discussion early within the family. I know we are short of time. I could go on about a lot longer, but I won't. And I just wanted to say thank you again, Pramod and the trustees of the Jalaram Temple. Deep honor to be here today. As many people have said, 25 years have gone by quite quickly. The temple has developed into a magnificent building, as well as a place of seva, and I wish you the best for the next 25 years. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm a bit too young for this, I think. That's why I do it by pressure.
Thank you very much, Professor Samani. Once again, echoing the words that we've already heard of Ashwin Dada, and of course of the words from Lord Gadia as well here today. Thank you very much. We are running short of time, so if I can ask speakers very kindly just to maybe see if you can cut down your speeches a little bit. I'm saying this in the best way possible. I know when you have a speech ready, it's quite difficult to do so, but if we can just stick to timings, that'd be great. I would now like to call upon John Patillo, who has extensive experience in the fast-moving consumer goods and logistics sector. He has been a non-executive with 8 organizations and has been chair of 4 of these, including In Kind Direct, a Prince's charity, V Group, a PE-owned marine service business. He was previously chairman of the NHS BT between 2013 and 2017, and now you've been re-elected back as an interim chair. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you here today to say a few words. Thank you. Please put your hands together for John Patillo.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honour and pleasure to be here for this very special day. I'll do my best to take the feedback and compress the speech as much as I can, but there are some important messages I'd like to convey. This is a very important 25th anniversary. It celebrates all of the service that this temple has provided to the community of Leicester. And all of that service originates from this beautiful building around us. But as well as acknowledging past successes, we look to the future with the opening of this innovative organ donation information centre. Now, this centre should become a powerful catalyst to encourage more members of the community to support organ donation. And indeed, as this poster says, this temple is leading the way. Perhaps others will follow. This type of centre has never been more needed. The impact of COVID has been quite significant on organ donation, and there's been a drop in both donations and transplantations, with, of course, a resulting impact on patients. I'm pleased to say that we're now back to just over 90% of pre-COVID levels, and we expect to be fully recovered in 2022. Now, as you may know, organs for donation are matched by blood group and tissue type, and people from the same ethnic background are more likely to be a match. Unfortunately, in the UK, donations and transplants are not evenly represented across ethnicities. I'll use data for the Black, Asian, mixed race and minority ethnic population in the UK to illustrate, and I'll use the rather ugly acronym BAME as a shorthand way to describe this group. So last year there were over 1,100 deceased organ donors in the UK. 7.3% came from BAME communities. The same period, 23% of all transplants were for BAME patients. And we know that these patients represent nearly a third of the national waiting list for transplants. As you've heard earlier, the organ donation law in England is now an opt-out system, but families are always involved in any donation decision. And as the professor said, that family discussion around the dining table to talk about one's wishes regarding transplant is so vitally, vitally important. But if we look at the decisions that families make, 39.5% of BAME families agreed to support donation. The equivalent number for white families was 69%. So hopefully these numbers are showing the imbalances, more need for transplantation, but fewer donations. And these imbalances have a human cost. To illustrate, 1 year after being listed for a transplant, 35% of white patients will have received that transplant, but only 19% of BAME patients. And sadly, around 6% of BAME patients die while waiting for an organ. So that's the problem, that's the imbalance. The best way to correct this and to improve the human outcomes from transplantation is through work within local communities to increase support for donation. Accurate information from trusted community leaders is essential. And situated at the heart of this community, I think this centre is perfectly placed to spread knowledge and understanding. I know you're training a team of dedicated volunteers to lead the work. You're creating a play which will expose some of the myths which can act as barriers to organ donation. And you're setting up a team of media champions. These are tremendous practical steps which ultimately should help to save lives. All of us here, I think, are long-term collaborators in this work. This Mandir has been a very supportive stakeholder of NHSBT, and we've worked together on several projects over the years. We were very pleased to provide some funds from our community investment scheme to help create this centre, and we're also very proud to work with JOD, which was founded by Lord Gadia and Kirit Modi. And overall, I think we have a very healthy partnership in this area. We're working together to create better outcomes for patients. Finally, I think the pandemic has reinforced the vital importance of community. And throughout the last 25 years, this temple has provided community leadership, support, and assistance. And I think that should make everyone here feel very, very proud. Now, with the creation of the Organ Information Centre, we can take that leadership one step further and help to save and improve lives through increased donation and transplantation. I'm personally proud to be here at the start of this journey and look forward very much to seeing the progress that we can achieve together. Thank you.
Thank you very much to John Patillo. I'd now like to call upon Liz, Member of Parliament, Elizabeth Kendall, a British Labour Party politician who has been Member of Parliament for Leicester West since 2010. Liz has always been supportive of the work of the Temple and the Community Centre, and her presence here shows her commitment to the work we do as a community. So please put your hands together for Liz Kendall.
Thank you, and what an honour it is to join you on this very special anniversary and to be here at the launch of the Organ Donation Information Centre, the first of its kind in the country, and I hope a trailblazer for the rest of Britain. Congratulations. I want to say three things. The first is how important this Monday is, not just for my constituency, Leicester West, or the city as a whole, but I believe for our country, because for me, you have always been a symbol of the journey the Hindu community has been on since so many families arrived here all those years ago, of the achievements you make and continue to make, never ever resting on your laurels, but always looking to the future. And above all, of your contribution, a symbol, I believe, of what makes our city and this country truly great. The second thing I want to say touches on the comments made earlier about duty and service, which I don't believe we talk about enough nationally, but which is so important to your community, but also to someone like me who grew up in a different tradition and a different religion. The importance of duty, service, giving back to the community, that we will do better as individuals and families when our community and our friends and neighbours do better too. And you have always put those values into practice, long before the pandemic struck. But during the pandemic, the contribution you have made has been invaluable. We would not have pulled through this pandemic, which, as you know, in this city, we face lockdown longer than anywhere else in the country, without the contribution of this mandir and of all the Hindu communities serving in our NHS and care system, we wouldn't have got through. So thank you from me. And finally, we have heard so much today about how important organ donation is, the importance of talking to your family early on, the importance of, please, if you have a problem or you're worried about your heart, go to our hospitals. It's so important. But I want to say something bigger about the future and the importance of health and care, as I am the Shadow Minister for Health and Social Care. When our NHS was created just after the Second World War, average life expectancy was 63. Now it is 80, and 1 in 4 babies born today are set to live to 100 years old. We live in the century of ageing, and as we all live for longer, work for longer, and care for our elderly and disabled relatives for longer, we need to rethink the way that our health and care services work and focus on not just longer lives, but healthier lives too. Many of the people who end up requiring organ donations or have heart problems, those problems could have been prevented with action to improve people's diet, exercise and lifestyles. That's probably a debate for another day, but I know, just as this mandir has blazed a trail in so many areas of health and care and contribution and service in this city, I know you'll be leading on that issue in future too. And I very much look forward, as always, to working in partnership with you and celebrating all the achievements you've made. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Liz Kendall for all those wonderful words. I'm not going to point any fingers at anybody, but we've got about 3 speeches left, and I am going to ask you to cut it extremely short, if that's okay. If I can now call upon Councillor Deepak Bajaj, Lord Mayor of Leicester, to say a few words. Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jalaram. Lord Gadia, Baroness Werma, Professor Nilesh Samani, Deputy City Mayor Sarah Russell, councillors, distinguished guests, special guests, faith leaders. John, welcome to Leicester after 40 years. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone. On behalf of the citizens of Leicester, I'm delighted to be here to share your 25th anniversary celebration for the Jalaram Community Centre. I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to you all. The Jalaram Charitable Trust opened the community centre known as Bapa's Gateway to Leicester in July 2016 to provide a place for people from all faiths to come together, learn and contribute to enhance Leicester's multicultural success. The centre is a magnificent achievement and showcases your success over many years in Leicester. I'd just like to say that 25 years ago, when the temple opened, I was here. 25 years later, when we're celebrating the 25th anniversary, I'm here, and I hope to be with you in the next 25 years. The temple itself was founded in Leicester in 1979 on Mere Road, and was a result of Sant Mata Puja Bhanuma, who came to the UK from Rajkot. Affectionately known as Ma to her fellow devotees, she was approached to build a Jalaram Bapa temple in the UK, and was inspired by a small group of Leicester ladies who used to meet for prayers to show their devotion to Saint Shree Jalaram Bapa, a much-loved saint born 150 years ago in Virpur, India. By 1989, a larger building was needed, and once again, through much hard work and devotion, the current site was acquired. And the new temple opened to accommodate the growing congregation and devotees of Puja Bapa. In 2015, the trust acquired the community centre, which was built to a high standard and opened a year later, providing much benefit to the multi-faith communities of Leicester. The centre acts as a hub for many multicultural activities, providing social, religious and cultural support to the people of Leicester. And we come together today to not only to mark this significant anniversary, but also to share the moment as the community centre is renamed the Veerabai Jalaram Community Centre. Much of the work undertaken by the Trust supports the work of charities both here and abroad. But today I'm delighted to acknowledge their support to local people with opening of their organ donation office. The office located within the temple provides information on encouraging people from all communities to become organ donors. Organ donors is a very personal choice and can be a difficult one to make. But the life-saving benefits to others is a truly valuable thing, and I wholeheartedly support this important service they offer. From its inception, the Jain Hindu Organ Donor Steering Committee, together with living organ donors, Bharat and Avril Patel, have been encouraging Hindus and others not to opt out, but to register as organ donors. And plans for memorial plaque to be installed for all donors are already in place. Today also celebrates the Trust Annual Appreciation Award, which acknowledges those in our community who have given their time and energy to support others who carry out charitable work. The awards were created in 2019 to recognise the service of volunteers, and we are forever indebted to those who are willing to offer help to others. I always feel incredibly humbled to learn of these sacrifices and many make to improve their lives of others. I would especially like to thank Mr. Thakur and the Jalaram Charitable Trust for their hospitality this morning, and wish you all a much successful and happy anniversary. Thank you. Sorry, I tried to rush through that.
Thank you so much to Leicester Lord Mayor for trying your very best to whiz through that speech. Thank you. We also have with us Baroness Verma, who is an Indian-British politician in the United Kingdom, appointed member of the House of Lords. She is the ministerial champion for tackling violence against women and girls overseas. If I can ask you to say just a few words, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
First of all, Jai Jalaram Bapa ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. And first and foremost, thank you to all of my esteemed friends and colleagues that I've known for many, many years. But Pramodji, to you, the Chair of Trustees, who under your leadership and many like you have brought this mandir to where it is today. And first, may I also thank my brothers Mahinder Bhaiya and Raju Bhaiya, who I've known before they came to this mandir. We've had a long relationship, and through happiness and through sadness, my Bhaiyas have been with me to make sure that as a family, we've been able to see many things through. I also want to thank all of you for inviting us here today, because this is very momentous for many things, but the key thing is that we have to listen to all of the speakers that have gone before me today. They have given you such important messages. And Sadhguruji, Koti Koti Pranam, for you to come here and tell us in such beautiful language the art of seva. And donation, me and my husband Ashok donated, not donated, but have given permission to have our organs donated once we pass. Many, many years ago, we did it at Swami Narayan Temple in Neasden, where they held a camp there. And we came specially a day early. I was in Mauritius yesterday, and we landed yesterday afternoon. We came specially because we wanted to be here to celebrate this 25 years. Because it is so, so important to actually be part of a movement that will hopefully save many, many lives. I've belonged to this city through my grandparents since the 1930s. My grandfather, a Sikh, with his Hindu friend, both from India, were founder members of the India Workers' Union. And they did that because they knew that the Indian community gave a lot in their work, but were very poorly served as citizens. And so we all as a community need to come together, and all as a community work not just for ourselves, as you Sadhguru said, and my dear friend Jitesh said, but to be able to go beyond our immediate families, because that's what my grandfather taught us. It was the word seva. Seva is something that you do without a return. And it is so important that we do that. And I know Manoj Keshavji very, very well, and I was there when Leela was with us and then when she sadly passed. What Leela has managed to do on her passing is help 5 families come to term so that they can live. And I think it is so, so important that we look at it in the light, Sadhguruji, of what you have said today, that we translate and evolve our teachings from where they started, which was bedded in seva, to where we need to go, which is bedded in seva. It just looks different. And so Priti is now standing right near me, and I know Priti is a forceful timekeeper, but I want to just end on one note. This mandir is at the heart of the city, but it's not just bricks and mortar that makes actions. And whilst we all come here and we pray for blessings and we take away teachings, the greatest thing that each and every one of us can do is to actually speak to not just our family members, but to other members, to come here, go to the organ donation centre and learn about what they can individually do. We as parliamentarians are your voices. If you feel we're failing you, come to us and tell us what needs to be done. Jitesh has been brilliant. He leads the way on lots of things, but my hat goes off to my dearest friend, Professor. You have really served this city to the max. And you, dear friend, have been an inspiration to all of us. The Ugandan Asians, when they came, added so much value to everything we've done. And Professor Somani, you as an individual have added huge amounts to the Indian community. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much to Baroness Verma for trying to stick to time to the best you can. Thank you very much. She said 5 minutes. I think it was about 6.5. We have one more speech to go. But before we do, it's lovely to have with us Manoj Bhai Keshavji. I know you were not expecting me to call you up here today, but Manoj Bhai is a living experience of losing his beautiful wife last year, Leela Ben. But, like we've already heard, she lives on through many, many individuals because she had discussed round a table with her family that she, once she passes, would like to donate her organs. Let's have a few words from Manoj Pai himself. Again, you will know him from the Moore restaurant, and I'll allow him to say a few words. Thank you, Manoj Pai.
Jai Shri Krishna and Jai Jalaram, everybody. So many familiar faces, and I'm privileged today to be here on this 25th anniversary of the magnificent example of what a mandir should be, at the heart of the community. But prior to me, I say thank you to all the eminent speakers here today. You've done so much justice and more today than the 12 months I've spent talking about organ donation, to the many, many Zoom and conference calls I've had with all sorts of communities. The NHS Blood and Transplant Department, and we're very privileged to have you here. I'm overwhelmed actually today. So bear with me. If I maintain my composure, I shall attempt to do this. Leela, my wife, she was an inspirational individual. Dan is seva. Seva is dan. The best value she lived, she believed in one simple value, very similar to the one you mentioned, Lord Gatya. The best part of living is giving. And we can all give in so many different ways. And Leela did that ultimately in every day that she lived. The ultimate giving is to be able to give another person the gift of life. Each and every one of us may be in that privileged situation. So many wonderful statistics were quoted. I'd like to quote another. That if you ever became an organ donor, you'd have 1 in 100 chance of actually being able to be in the situation that is ideal to be able to give your organs to another. Even if you became an organ donor, you'd have 1 in 100 chance of being in that privileged situation to be able to give an organ to another. Some 3 months after Leela donated her organs, I received a beautiful letter. And this letter was from a lady, 38 years of age. This lady received Leela's kidneys. She'd been waiting for a long, long time. She'd had a miscarriage previously that contributed to organ failure, some complications in her health. She had a child, she had a husband, she had a family, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters. The difference you make when you give an organ to someone is not just to that person's life. You make a difference to many, many, many people. And just imagine, one thought that Bharat Bhai here is an inspiration to me as well. He promotes kidney donation and organ donation. He's given up his life as his beautiful wife has. In fact, his wife gave up an organ to save his life. But just one simple thing. Yes, we are very successful in so many ways. But are we really successful in the way that matters the most, life? So if you want to give the gift of life, please listen to everything that everyone said and make a difference to others' lives where you genuinely can. Jai Shri Krishna, thank you.
Thank you so much, Manoj Bhai, for that real life experience. I personally knew Leela Ben, and everything that Manoj Bhai just said about her was absolutely spot on. A very giving person, and it's nice to know that her legacy lives on. We also have friends here from the NHS, so thank you for the work that you ladies do. I saw you standing up. Please do stand up and please do come forward. These are the lovely ladies that help save lives, amongst lots of other colleagues from the NHS. Please keep clapping as they come forward. Thank you very much. Thank you. May Bapa continue to bless these beautiful ladies, along with everybody in the NHS, to continue the wonderful work that the NHS does. Thank you very much. આજે તો સાક્ષાત એવું જ લાગે છે કે ભગવાનના દર્શન થયા આ લોકો બધાને મળીને, especially after the awful year that we've all experienced. So once again, a huge thank you to our NHS friends. I'm going to try and compose myself now. Last but not least, I'd like to call upon a man who needs no introduction, one of my school head teachers. I love being on this side, Steve. Steve White, also lovingly known as Shiv White, as Pujya Morari Bapu renamed him a few years ago. Steve has been associated with much of the wonderful work of the mandir, and also has helped bring the work of the temple to light at a strategic level. Steve, a huge fan of Leicester City football team, who has also helped to unite us as a temple with our home team, will now say a few words to introduce our guest speaker from Leicester City Football Club, who also joins us here today. Please put your hands together for Steve White.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jalaram, Jai Swaminarayan, and isn't it absolutely, unbelievably wonderful to be here? And I am known for a little bit of hyperbole and exaggeration, but I am not exaggerating by saying this is probably the finest thing I've been associated with and want to see flourish in the future. Because why this is so good is you look up there and you see multi-faith. You see a city that is steeped in multicultural, multi-faith, multi-ethnic. And by golly, I would never swear, but I'm tempted to just add a little bit of emphasis. It's this city and the people that make people. And you've heard them this morning, my good friends, eloquently express what they feel. And I've got to say this, because my two things are, you'd expect me to say this, education, I could say education, and sport. No surprise. But guess who else I taught in the room? He happens to be the Lord Mayor of Leicester. I don't know how he feels about it, but I feel very good about it, because he's out there. You know one great thing, just one sentence, he gets involved. He does things. He rolls his sleeves up. He's fantastic. So that's the first thing. And I do want to relate this very quickly to my favourite restaurant, although he is rebranding it. He's going to have something new for you in the future. But I go there, and the smile of Manoj and Leela is imprinted on me. I feel very moved just to say this, but the conversation that Leela and I and Manoj were having, what was it? That Leela wanted to get back into teaching. She's an RE teacher, like me, an RE teacher, you know, and we had that empathy. So I'm saying to any of you out there, and I want all of you parents and grandparents, because they can't be here this morning, the children, because they happen to be in damn good schools, schools, very good schools. They are marvellous, and we've got two, I don't mind doing a little promotion, two phenomenal ones in this area. Fulhurst Community College. Rick Moore would have loved to have been here, but he can't, Chair of Governors, and Ellesmere, where I'm Chair of Governors. One thing that we need to address in this country alongside, and I mean, organ transplant and all that is absolutely brilliant, but if we do not educate our populace, we are deficient. We are deficient. And I'm going to give you one statistic this morning. People with learning disabilities, SEND students, only 5% get any employment of any sort at all. It's a national scandal. And I'm determined, with all of you and anybody around here who cares to listen, to say, come on, let's support those youngsters. They're up at Ellesmere. There's 2,500 SEND students in families in this city. Let's support them. Right, I've had my say on education. I'm going to turn. Now, Ryan Bromyard, who's come to represent the football club, I think we've unnerved him. You've unnerved him pretty, because he'll be quite relieved to say he's not giving a speech. That's right, but he is here to receive something. I can hardly exaggerate this, but my wonderful father, who'll be 100 this year, absolutely loved life, loved sport, and he said, Steve White, you are going to support your local football team, and you're going to support your local rugby team, and you're going to support... Well, how much joy can you have when you're born to the greatest sporting capital in the world? And this is where I'm going to try and say it. I've got the scarf on, so if I get stuck, Srivad Hana Prabha, Kunvishai to friends. You know, you can hardly believe when I listen to the radio oh, and by the way, I do want to say, thanks to the media as well, there are great people in this room. Romeo's over there, Pukar News, the BBC. I am biased because I was chairman of the local thing, Radio Leicester and ITV and others. We need you. We need you to take these messages out about organ... Well, so, sorry, a bit of an aside, but very relevant. So, Kunvishai arrived around 2010, and he just revolutionised that. Him, the person he was, kindness, happiness, engagement, the giving. He just gave without any boundaries. And it was staggering. And again, I'm just going to take 2 more minutes, and this makes me quite upset in the way, because I go to most matches. The day of West Ham, I go with my son and my grandson. My son went off after the match, and I walked back with my grandson. And we stop off at a local shop to buy something to eat. And we looked up, and a helicopter came over. And my grandson actually said to me, what about the I said, well, that's the chairman's helicopter arriving. And we actually spoke about Kunvishai. But what does he do, Grandad? He's chairman of it. It doesn't really matter. I said, believe you, man, believe you me, this man matters. Within 2 hours, he'd perished in that helicopter. And my daughter was literally hysterical on the telephone. I don't know how somebody from the other side of the world, from Thailand, can come into a city like this and make people feel the way they do. And he did it. So, this is our plan. Ryan tells me the programme that he runs is, guess what? With primary schools and secondary schools. So we're going to combine, and the thought, I've not told you this yet, but I hope you're going to take the good message back to the top. Why don't we use this place, this wonderful place, that wonderful place, to just bring in people when they come to the city? And why don't we use our youngsters, the ones that come here, or maybe go to Ellesmere, get them in on a Saturday morning or whatever. They can learn about the values, they can learn about good things, and they can talk about their city. Are you up for it? Good, good. Really, that is me done, but I can only just reiterate what I said at the beginning. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful speeches. I think everybody's really captured the moment. I'm struggling on Hindi, Gujarati and all those other things, but I've got Jay next to me, giving me a nudge and telling me what's good. Thank you, sir, for coming and giving what you've given to us this morning. It's always good to see, and you as well, new people in the city giving of themselves and what they feel. So thank you. Namaskar. Yeah, let's do it now.
I want to talk about the temple which took the rate. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You can look at the crowd.
Thank you, Steve.
Shall I stay here or do that?
No, you can stay here.
Yeah. Right.
Is it open, yeah?
Yes, sir. This is now the moment that I want to make a presentation, and it is really about Kunvishai, posthumously. Would have loved his son, maybe Tops and others to be here. We've written to Chief Executive, but we've got a fantastic guy in Ryan, and Ryan is going to receive this just to say we're just determined to actually do something more here, and this is something that Pramod and I have been talking about. Who said this is a phenomenal gateway to Leicester? And there's a prominence as you come down. Why couldn't we use that bit of space outside? We haven't got much space left. And I'm only going to give you a clue to this. Let's say Alice Hawkins. Who knows Alice? A suffragette. There is a statue of Alice Hawkins. Why could we not have something around Kunvishai? Why could we not? And wouldn't it be fantastic if we could do it out in the community? I mean, maybe Leicester City Football Club, they have it in their plans, but why could we not, as a community, just do it? And you can imagine if people didn't know about the Jalaram, by golly, everybody in the world would know about the Jalaram by then. It'd be pretty good. So let's think about it. Okay. Are you going to present it then? And I'll, yeah.
It's amazing. Steve has been the ambassador of this charity and trust since, I remember, when we bought this, when we had the old temple, the neighbors were very hard.
No, they weren't too hard. No, come on.
And the only one who got across them was Steve and said, look, they're going to be building a center, a purpose-built Bapa's temple, which would be for the benefit of the community. And Steve, we proved that. I mean, the community center is doing a lot. And it's only because of Steve. I mean, I recall when the unfortunate helicopter crash took place, on Sunday night, he rang me up and said, Pramod, what are we going to do about it? We went on Sabras Radio, thanks to Don Kotak and Sanskar and all that, and we said, look, why don't we Hindus on Monday morning get together and do something? We had about 80 or 90 Hindus here. We prayed here, and we took the wreath across. I mean, it's exactly 3 years, and whilst we are presenting the award to the Leicester City Football Club to take it away, Do you mind coming? I think, it's timely, and that was part of my, sorry we're taking a bit more time, but I think it's timely that we just hold a 1 minute silence for the chairman and for the unfortunate families and pray for them, for their lost ones. So can we have just a 1 minute silence, please? Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. So thank you very much for coming down on behalf of the football club. We've got a little award for you. So it's not about religion, it's not about medicals, it's not about organ donation, but it's also about sports fraternity. So we've got everybody here, and really touched from the bottom of my heart that you'll all have been present here. Now, if I can request Biju to come and, well, sorry, I'm not taking over your situation, am I?
I think Pramod Bhai's passion certainly comes across there. He asked me to MC, but he wants to carry on. In fact, Pramod Bhai, we are going to move on to the next part of the present. Are we not doing the awards?
Yeah.
So, Pramod Bhai is going to very shortly call upon names of the wonderful volunteers from the temple here that have been working endlessly on various different projects that the temple leads on. Unfortunately, we are out of time, and I'd like to just echo what Steve just said about thanking the media that are present here today, because I am going to try to stick to time for the unveiling of the organ donation office very shortly. I just know that we are doing a live interview via ITV News, so thank you to all the media. We have Don Kotak there at the back from Sabras, so please put your hands together for Don Kotak. Also to Sanskar Radio, who always supports the work that the temples throughout Leicester does. So thank you very much to Sanskar Radio as well. Thank you also to our media partner, Asta Television. Thank you very much to Ramel from Bukar News, who's also here present. Thank you very much, Ramel Gulzar. Thank you very much to, again, Rajiv Popat, who's somewhere at the back from ITV News. Thank you for being with us here today as well. Also to the BBC, and I know that Bharat Bhai, you were on BBC yesterday, so thank you very much to BBC Radio Leicester and National BBC as well for covering today's ceremony here today. I'm now not going to take too much time because now I have Pramod Bhai standing next to me. I can see from the corner of my eye asking me to move on. So he's going to read out all the names. So for those of you that are receiving an award, if you can just stand up when he calls out your names so that everybody else can applaud you. It's really, really important that we keep the volunteers encouraged so that the work that the community does continues. So please continue applauding while he calls out the names. Thank you.
Priti, thank you. As you said, time is against us. So what I'm going to really do, we introduced this Jalaram Jayanti annual awards since 2018 for all the communities on whatever good work they do in Leicester or throughout the world. Last year, due to COVID, we had the Jalaram Jayanti worldwide, and most of the awards have been given to our team in London, Africa, and 70 temples around the world. As they say, the last last ones that get anything at home. So you are the last ones. Some of these letters are dated December 2020, but what I do is really read them out, and if you don't mind, then later on, our team will just give them to you. So Lord Chitesh Katia, for championing the organ donation, Councillor Rashmikant Joshi, Professor Nilesh Samani, Sir Peter Salisbury. Actually, Peter was here on Friday. He couldn't make it today. He came to, have his vaccination. Well, he came to the vaccination center, and then we invited him here to show him the organ donation office, and awarded him this appreciation award. Councillor Manjula Sood, my co-trustees, I've had no issues with them. Whenever we say anything, they say, just say, do whatever you want. Bhadrasilbhai Trivedi, Jayantibai Kotecha, Jayantibai Chandarana, Ketanbhai Kotecha, and Biju Gilani. Our past trustees, Nareshbhai Popat and Sunil Buddhe. Thanks, Naresh. We got auditors, the Pinnacles. Asha Ben is part of the furniture here. Asha Ben, you do a lot of seva. Asha Ben serves food during the tiffin period. When we had the tiffin service, she works with the homeless, and she also does a lot of seva here. Asha Ben, thank you very much. We got Asha Ben's daughter, Drusha. She's another excellent supporter. Drusha, thanks a lot. Aarti Ben Chandarana, Suresh Bhai Patel, you've been a tremendous support. Piyush Bhai Lakhani, our ex-financial controller. Asha Ben Chandarana, Bhabi. Where is Bhabi? This lady, I've seen her since last 40 years. Raji Matajina and all the sanghas that are being done, she does them every morning. Thank you very much. Ajit Singh, security, easily recognizable. Mahendra Bhai, Raju Bhai, our chief priest. Whilst we're on that point, Mahendra Bhai, yes, sir. Pan khawa ગયા છે? આવો અહીંયા, તમારું કામ છે, રાજુભાઈ. Actually, Mahendra Bhai and Raju Bhai are the pillars of this temple. They have actually, from the day they came into the country, they've been part of this place, and both seva kari. And there's a surprise. In fact, I had to ask you to leave the office, your own office yesterday. There's a surprise that the Board of Trustees have decided yesterday that we'd like to invite you as a board member of the trustees. Sir. Janti you are part of the board now. Who better than him to be a trustee, Janti bhai. Hi. Raju bhai. Narendra Bhai, our photographer, Manoj Bhai Keshav. Thank you. I know that you and Naresh worked very hard during the NHS, and the number of meals that you all served on behalf of the Lions Club and on behalf of Jalaram Temple, it's amazing. And Leela Ben, has left that legacy behind. It's so touching. I was in London. Naresh Bhai sorted out this scheme with you with Lions Club. And you served so many meals during those all those things are in the souvenir which you'll see. Pikubai Indocha from Lions Club, Steve Timmons, who actually has been introduced to us by Rakha, he's here. But Steve has actually helped us proofread the whole souvenir. Mr. Singh, he's the guy who cleans this place since last 25 years. Really appreciate. Jalaram Jayanti worldwide, it just happened that with Bapa's grace, we managed to celebrate it last year through virtual with 75 temples around the world. and we had over 70,000 viewers on the day, and thereafter 1 million through various social media. Mahesh Karya, Sailesh Raja, Bhajan, Steve White, our ambassador for multicultural activities. I mean, we got another excellent project which Sunil and Ash have been leading. That's the winter sleeping homeless project down there. Obviously last year because of COVID they didn't come. But between November to March we sleep the homeless there. And I've been there few evenings and seen how hard the volunteers work, playing games with them, feeding them at night, sleeping them. And Salma, who's head of One Roof Sleeping Project, we've been closely working with her. Mukundbai's wife, on the Jalaram Jayanti, we had the tremendous support of Greenford Mandir, Rajnibai Kiroya, Rashmibai, Chanel, Robin, Jord. Again, we come back to organ donation. Obviously, we do miss Kiritbhai today, his presence, but I'm sure his wishes are with us. We've got Prafula Ben Shah here, who's, as you know, part of our trustees at Jord. She's very active. We got Bharat Patel, Avril. We got Sejal Ben Saglani, Manarbai Mehta, Neil Soneja, Neeraj Joshi, Bharti Bhikha, Shivam Kakad, Bhupenbhai Vasa, Vijaybai Seth, and Sunil Daga. These are the Jord team from London. So, you know, this temple, it's now connected to the London and Leicester. So, Prafula Ben, can you stand up if you are around? Prafula Ben, you've been tremendous support to Kiritbhai and all our core trustees. And sorry, we cannot invite each of you to receive the organ, this thing, but we would request you to collect them later on. Yeah? Thank you very much, Prafula Ben. Jalaram Balvikas, we got Sarjan Ben, Prafula Ben, and Deepak. They learn an excellent. Actually, it's funny. And even Biju, the new trustee, didn't know we have Gujarati classes downstairs, which have been built by Naresh. The library is made into a makeshift Gujarati school and the community center across every Saturday. And we are always linked with the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. And Sarjan Ben, Prafula Ben, and all the teachers work so hard. Every year we get 100% results in A-level. Hanuman Seva Trust, Mansukh Bhai, you need to come forward. Just a start. On behalf of all those very hard, dedicated sevaks, we've been so fortunate. We just have to tell Mansukh Bhai Akarwanuj, whether it's, yesterday, for instance, the vaccination center, obviously there are computers and everything, and that shut at 5 o'clock. Yeah. By 7 o'clock, they just changed it all into a dining area. So it's the credit really goes to Mansukh Bhai and his team. Very dedicated. Mansukh Bhai, I'd like to thank you very much for your great support. The car parking, Jalaram Jayanti, when we have 2,000 to 3,000 people, they manage everything for us. So Mansukh Bhai, thank you very much. Ketan, would you like to, on behalf of everybody? So do collect your trophies and that's it. Obviously the press, most important for us. Don Kotak. Don, you here? Who doesn't know Don? Don, thanks a lot for your support. Sabras, Sanskar, Gulzar from Gulzar, Rajiv Popat, we got BBC East Midlands team, Leicester Mercury, tremendous support. I keep on getting calls, can you send me the press release? And at that time I said, have we done a press release? You know what it's like. But no, really, we are very thankful to all the Leicester press, Asian Voice, Sibi Patel, and Gujarat and Gujarat Samachar. We've worked with NHSF. What COVID has done, during the COVID period, we had a lot of Zoom meetings, over 20 or 25. And We also entered into Zoom meetings with NHS, the Students' Forum. They are excellent. Sujal Shah from Sanskar team member and content lead, Mitali Patel, South Zone, Shiromi, events team, Francisca Bhavisha, London Zone team, and Deepika Nandi. There are quite a lot. I mean, these students, I think they have a reach of about 50,000 unions, student unions, and they're very professional. And as you said, Lord Jitesh, that the technology, we just connect to one and the Zoom start, yeah? I shouldn't be forgetting the recent one, which is the vaccination center, which we just started with Patel's chemist, Dhanesh Kadia and Sanjay Sabani. Thanks a lot for your support. They've started sending me weekly statistics, and I can tell you this walking center has become popular for all communities in Leicester. So Dhanesh, congratulations to your team, Dr. Nick. I mean, I believe you are the head of the whole thing. We've just met today, but your whole Mornington chemist is doing an excellent job, very professionally run. And Kamlesh Purohit from BBC, who usually helps us MC. I do apologize if I missed out on anybody, but this is, I think, final awards for this year. Thank you. It saved us a year, by the way, so we didn't have to make one this year. This is 2021. So thank you very much. Ramila Ben, where are you? You need to come here. Ramila Ben and Raj, can you come up here? I sat down with Ramila Ben and Raj. I said, look, how about a souvenir? And that's sure. I said, do you know you're taking on a difficult task? That means 25 years of historical pictorial souvenir. And at that time, she was relaxed. And in the last 4 weeks after I came back from India, she was tearing her hair, you know. Ramila Ben, I mean, at this juncture, I think all the VIPs have, and all the volunteers can pass on those goodie bags to all the other guests. May I request you to all unveil the souvenir, which Ramila Ben, please come. She has actually kindly designed an excellent souvenir. She won't say any good words with me because we were on Zooms at 3 in the morning since last few weeks. Moving out pages, changing. But you know what she's actually managed to do is the activities we've done during COVID, it's all in a bell. So please do take the opportunity of all of you opening the souvenir, unveiling the souvenir. The volunteers can start giving out the piggy banks to all the other guests. Yeah, Ramila Ben, thank you very much. And my apologies for not letting you speak. Yeah, this is official. No, she's done. I hope you all, basically what we've done is a pictorial souvenir since last 25 years of all the activities that matter. I mean, today a lot of, we've heard a lot from distinguished guests, the medical fraternity, sports. What we need to all do, I think as a community, we have a lot of challenges ahead. We've got challenges like mental health in our community, major problem, dementia within the Southeast Asian community. And those are things which we all need to consider, how as community we can help everybody, yeah? Is it? Sorry, I can't. Sorry, do you have very... Huh? Sorry, yeah. My apologies, but since we are going next door now, my mind can go on things there and who's been helping us there. I mean, can we invite Ricky Patel up here? He's designed the whole Jalaram Jupri. Ricky, thank you very much. Ricky, when you go next door, you'll appreciate what Ricky has done. I mean, he's one of the best designers of all stuff. He's got an arts studio in Leicester. And I remember even during the Prince Edward's this
Yes,
thing.
you know.
We just had to ring him, and he got the photo and everything here. So Ricky, thanks a lot for your support.
Okay.
So please, Ricky. Ricky's been working till yesterday very late. So when everybody goes there, you'll recognize what Ricky's built there. Priti, can I let you carry on? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can we present Priti with a little bouquet for the all? I mean, Priti is like my young sister. Come down, come down. I always put her in the deep end. You know, I said, okay, Priti, it's yours now. You deal with it. We are missing Sanjay Rugani, who was going to co-host. But last Sunday, Priti, Sanjay and I had a conference call and Zoom, and we set up the thing. So Priti has had to take on the whole burden of the emceeing. So thank you very much, Priti, for all your help and support. Sorry, can we have Avril here and Asha Ben? Avril, Asha Ben, can you come here, please? Asha Ben? Thank you, Priti. Thanks a lot for everything, yeah? Priti, I've known her since she was this high, when the first Hindus came to see us about organizing big programs here. Asha Ben? Avril? 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 Asha Ben, this is for you in the meantime, yeah? For all the hard work you've done. Thank you very much. Avril, thank you very much. Avril is actually Bharat's wife, and she's actually given her kidney to Bharat, and they've dedicated their life for the organ donation. Avril, thank you so much. So, I may have forgotten some. I do apologize, you all families. I mean, we've got all the Pierce pies, all the Saints Lamric pies from London. Thank you very much. I mean, most of all, I was touched when Shanti Bhai, Narendra Bhai, Masi, Naveen Bhai, Vinod Bhai, my friend Raj from London came. It was wonderful to see all these London guys who are very much Bapa's devotees. It was wonderful. So, you know, I'm touched that they've all been here for this auspicious day. Thank you very much. Now I'll let Priti carry on with the rest of the program. Thanks, Priti.
Thank you very much to Pramod Bhai, and that is certainly a very difficult task because he's got to remember all the names of all the people that have been behind making this temple what it is, but also all the very valued volunteers that come together every single day to continue the good humanitarian work that the temple does. So thank you very much to Pramod Bhai. And on his behalf, if he has forgotten anyone, you know, do forgive us, because I do know that he sometimes sits there in the middle of the night, and when your phone goes beep in the middle of the night, you can almost guarantee it's a message from Pramod Bhai. So, and I'm sure some of the, yes, I can see some people agreeing with me there to say that it's him. He's very hardworking. So please put your hands together for Pramod Bhai and his dedication. And behind every successful man, there's always got to be all the beautiful ladies. So all these wonderful ladies, the trustees' wives, Jamie Ben, we met yesterday, and Pramod Bhai's wife here as well, Jasu Ben, Asha Ben, Diti Ben. Thank you so much for all the wonderful work that you do, allowing your husbands to do the wonderful work that they do. So thank you very much. Keeping the garam garam rotis ready for them for when they come home. We have got a cake cutting ceremony to go towards. Are we going to do that, or are we out of time?
The message and just the cake and then, yeah.
The message first, okay. We have had to change the agenda around very slightly just because we have overrun. But we have a message, a video message from Shastriji Anant Krishna. Today, આપણે already સાંભળ્યું છે કે ગુરુવાર છે, સંતોનો દિવસ છે, બાપાનો દિવસ છે, તો આપણે શાસ્ત્રીજી અનંત કૃષ્ણનો પણ જે સંદેશો આવ્યો છે એ પણ અત્યારે સાંભળી લઈએ. And then after we will go towards the cake cutting ceremony, and then we will open up the organ donation officially. So let's move on to a message from Shastriji.
बर्हापीडं नटवरवपु कर्णयोः कर्णिकारं बिभ्रद्वास कनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च मालां रन्ध्रान् वेणोरधरसुधया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दैर्वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणं प्राविशद्गीतकीर्तिः श्री गोवर्धननाथ की जय, श्री अवध विहारी लाल की जय, श्री जलाराम बापा की जय. भगवद गीता में ठाकुर जी अर्जुन जी ने उपदेश आपता कहे छे, यतः प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यर्च्य सिद्धिं विन्दति मानवः. अर्थात परमेश्वर द्वारा आ सृष्टिनी अने एमां रहेला जीव समुदायनी उत्पत्ति थई छे. माणस पोताना स्वाभाविक कर्मो वडे ईश्वरनी અને જીવ સમુદાયની પૂજા કરીને શું પામે છે? પરમ સિદ્ધિને પામે છે. આનું શ્રેષ્ઠ ઉદાહરણ કોણ? તો શ્રી રામ ભક્ત પૂજ્ય શ્રી જલારામ બાપા. આજે જ્યારે જલારામ મંદિર લેસ્ટરને 25 વર્ષ પૂરા થઈ રહ્યા છે, એની સૌ કોઈને મંગલ બધાઈઓ. હું श्री रसराज प्रभुना चरणों में प्रार्थना करूं कि 25 वर्ष तो शू परंतु दीर्घ काल पर्यंत एमनी कृपा वरसावता रहे. पूज्य दादाजी आज ए पण खूब प्रसन्न हशे. पूज्य दादाजी दीप दीक्षा में मानता. दीप दीक्षा एटले शू? पोते तो स्वयं प्रकाशित होवुं પણ બીજાને પણ એવા જ પ્રકાશિત કરવા. અહંતાનો ભાવ, એ ભાવનો ત્યાગ કરી દેવો અને બીજાને પણ જાગૃત કરવા. હું અમુક કારણોસર લેસ્ટર આ કાર્યક્રમમાં ન આવી શક્યો. આની પાછળ પણ હું માનું છું ઠાકોરજીની કોઈ ઈચ્છા જ હશે. અને જલારામ બાપા અવશ્ય એમની સેવામાં ક્યારેક પુનઃ બોલાવશે. પુનઃ આપ સૌને 25 વર્ષના દિવ્ય મહોત્સવની મંગલ બધાઈઓ. જય જલારામ, જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ. અસ્તુ.
શાસ્ત્રીજીના ચરણોમાં પણ કોટી કોટી પ્રણામ. Now, before we move on to the next part of the ceremony, which is the cake cutting ceremony, I'd like to call upon the sponsors of the Virbaima Community Centre, that's Rajni Pai and Jyotiben. Please come forward. Also to Vinod Pai, who's come from London. Tame પણ આગળ આવી જાજો. Uncle તમે પણ શાંતિ ભાઈ દામેચા, Dhirubhai Sangani, please, તમે પણ આગળ આવી જાજો. If I can have the trustees of Jalaram Mandir, please come forward as well. Virjubhai is saying no, but I'm saying yes. Please come forward. Please come forward. Natubhai, Jantibhai, please bada agad avi jajo. Nileshbhai, Jiteshbhai, તમે પણ આગળ આવી જાજો.
વીરભાઈ મનના જે સ્પોન્સર રજનીભાઈ છે ઠકરાર, એવા તો ઘણા છે, પણ મનુષ્યને આનુવંશિક સંસ્કાર કે મળે કે વારસો મળે, એ વારસો વરદાન હોય કે વિષાદ હોય એ ક્યારે ખબર પડે? મને ખબર 1992થી રજનીભાઈ અને એના બાળકો નાનકડા હતા ત્યારે દરરોજ સાંજે મંદિર બંધ કરવાનું હોય એ ટાઈમે આવે ને 2 કલાક મારી સાથે બેસે. અને એ જમાનામાં મારા 50 પાઉન્ડ પગાર હતો અને રજનીભાઈ જ્યારે જાય ત્યારે 50ની નોટ ચોવડી કરીને મારા હાથમાં મૂકે. અઠવાડિયે સુધી મને ખાવાનું ન ભાવે કે હાય મને મળી ગયા, હાય મને મળી ગયા. એમ છે. ખૂબ દાન પુણ્ય ઇન્ડિયામાં કર્યું છે આ પરિવારે. અને જલારામ બાપા સદાય એના ભંડાર ભરપૂર રાખે. એવી રીતના ખોડીદાસ બાપુજી, મને તો ખબર નહોતી કે ધામેચાના ફાધર થાય. એને એમના વાઈફ 2-3 કલાક મંદિરમાં બેસવા આવતા અને હું ઓળખતો નહીં, પણ મારા ઉપર અતિશય પ્રેમ, તે વાતચીત મારી સાથે કરે. રજનીભાઈ ખીરોયા જ્યારે મંદિર ઓપનિંગ થયું ત્યારે મેં કીધું કે એક સાઈડમાં રેલિંગ છે ને બીજી સાઈડમાં રેલિંગ નથી, વૃદ્ધાઓને ચડવામાં તકલીફ થાય છે. રજનીભાઈએ તરત જ કીધું કે મારા જેટલો ખર્ચો થાય એટલો કરાવી લ્યો, હું પૈસા આપીશ. જે બ્રાસિંગની રેલિંગ નાખી છે રજનીભાઈ ખીરોયાએ. તો આવા તો અમે સુરેશભાઈ પટેલ, એવા તો કેટલાય આની અંદર હું જોઉં છું કે જે મંદિરને એટલું બધું અનુમોદન આપ્યું છે. અમારે નરેશભાઈ પોપટે પણ સામેનું બિલ્ડિંગ કેટલું સરસ બનાવ્યું, એમાં પોતાનું પણ એટલું આપ્યું. પિયુષભાઈ અમારા જે ટ્રેઝરર છે પોતાનું માનીને રાત દિવસ કામ કર્યું. તો એ બધાનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર અને બધાને જલારામ બાપા ખૂબ દીએ. લક્ષ્મીને સાફ કરવી અતિ આવશ્યક છે. મનને અંદર લઈ આવનારી જગ્યાનું નામ મંદિર, અને ભાર ન રાખે મુરારી, 1000 ગણું કરે એ વારી. ચાલો બોલો સ્લોગન. હેપી બર્થડે ટુ हरि ओम सहस्रशेरखा पुरुखा सहस्राक्ष सहस्रपात सभूमिगुं सर्वतस्थितादशाङ्गुलं पुरुख एवेदगुं सर्वं यच भूतं यच भाव्यम् उतामृतशन्नय यदन्नेनातिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमा तु जायाङ्घपुरोघपादूष विश्वसा भूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं ब्राह्मणोषमुखमासेद्बाहुन् कृताहुरोः पदभ्यङ्गं शूद्रो अजायत। बोलिए जलाराम बापानी जय। बोलो एक मिनट।
શ્રી જલારામ બાપાની જય. બધા આપણે 1-2 મિનિટ માટે પૂજ્ય બાપાનું કીર્તન કરીએ. તાળીઓ પાડી અમારી સાથે જોડાજો. જય જય જલા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. 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 લાકડી વાળા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. લાકડી વાળા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. પાઘડી વાળા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. પાઘડી વાળા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. જય જય જલા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. જય જય જલા બાપા તમારી ધૂન લાગી. શ્રી જલારામ બાપાની જય. શ્રી વીરબાઈ માત કી જય. શ્રી ભોજલરામ બાપાની જય.
Thank you very much, everyone. Ab sarvano khub khub abar. If you can now please take your seats again, very, very quickly. We're now going to proceed towards the formal opening of the organ donation office. થોડી જે સૂચના આપવાની છે તો એ આપી દો. તો પ્લીઝ ફક્ત 2 મિનિટ માટે જ તમે ફરી પાછા બેસી જાજો. If I can ask everyone to quickly take your seats, we are going a little bit over the time that has been allocated to this, so very, very quickly, if you can take your seats. Jaldi jaldi fari pacha tame besi jajo. We're now moving on towards the opening of the organ donation office. For those of you whose names were called out that have received an award, please do so on your way out. Do not forget to pick your award up. The wonderful ladies that you saw on my right-hand side will give you your award. Please, can everyone just sit down for one more minute? Jaldi jaldi pacha besi jajo.
जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री
To pick up your awards. They are on my right hand side there. All of you should have also been given a goodie bag to take home. Please do have a look through the souvenir book that has been put together by all the volunteers and the trustees of the Mandir, and of course all the contributors as well. So thank you very much to all the contributors of the souvenir. I would now like to ask you all to start to exit from that entrance there, apart from the names that Pramod Bhai is now going to call out, that will be unveiling the organ donation office. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony, and then we will move from downstairs to the community centre opposite and officially open the Veerbai Ma Jalaram Community Centre as well. But I'm going to leave this bit to Pramod Bhai to call out the names of the people that will be asked to exit from my left hand side here. So just listen out for your names. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Preeti. I'd like to also acknowledge Resham Singh Sandhu, who's been awarded a few weeks ago the highest award by the Indian government. Resham, thank you for coming down. Yeah. Can I now request the front row to go down through there, and you'll be directed straight to the organ donation office. Professor Samani, Lord Jitesh Gadia, and John Portillo, if you can go to the front and unveil the plaque. Obviously, I'll be joining you soon. And if the trustees can join them.
जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री मंगल मूरत छवि मनोहर मंगलम श्री जोड़ी धोको जाप अजंपा धारी मंगलम श्री मंगल मूरत छवि मनोहर मंगलम श्री जोड़ी धोको जाप अजंपा धारी मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाड़ मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री पूर्ण पद अधिकारी महामानव मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री पूर्ण पद अधिकारी महामानव मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री नीकटेक सत्यनि माधारी मंगलम श्री सदा व्रतधारी अवतारी मंगलम श्री नीकटेक सत्यनि माधारी मंगलम श्री सदा व्रतधारी अवतारी मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री पूर्ण पद अधिकारी महामानव मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री पूर्ण पद अधिकारी महामानव मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री नीलकंठ सत्य निमाधारी मंगलम श्री सदा व्रतधारी अवतारी मंगलम श्री नीलकंठ सत्य निमाधारी मंगलम श्री सदा व्रतधारी अवतारी मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री मंगल मूरत छवि मनोहर मंगलम श्री जोड़ी धोको जाप अजंपा धारी मंगलम श्री मंगल मूरत छवि मनोहर मंगलम श्री जोड़ी धोको जाप अजंपा धारी मंगलम
स्वस्ति न इंद्रो रघवा स्वस्ति न
जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री पूर्ण पद अधिकारी महामानव मंगलम श्री सोरठना शिरताज जलियाण मंगलम श्री पूर्ण पद अधिकारी महामानव मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई